When most people think about bone health and calcium, they imagine taking calcium supplements or drinking fortified plant milk. But there's something fundamentally different about calcium from dairy products that makes population-level evidence consistently favor dairy consumption over supplementation for bone health outcomes. Understanding this difference matters enormously for preventing osteoporosis and maintaining bone strength as you age. Dairy products provide calcium within a nutritional matrix that includes protein, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, and various vitamins. These nutrients work synergistically. The protein in dairy actually supports calcium retention and bone formation, contrary to older theories about protein causing calcium loss. The phosphorus content, often feared, actually contributes positively to bone mineral density when consumed in appropriate ratios with calcium. This is nutrient synergy at its finest. Population studies consistently show dairy consumers have better bone health outcomes than non-consumers, even when calcium intake is matched through supplements or fortified foods. This isn't trivial. We're talking about fracture risk, which directly impacts mortality and quality of life in older adults. Hip fractures in the elderly carry significant mortality risk within the first year. Maintaining bone strength isn't cosmetic, it's a longevity issue. Now let's address the complications. Many people, particularly those of non-European descent, have some degree of lactose intolerance. But here's what often gets missed: lactose content varies dramatically between dairy products. Hard cheeses contain virtually no lactose. Yogurt and kefir have reduced lactose due to bacterial fermentation, and the live cultures actually help digest remaining lactose. Many lactose-intolerant people tolerate these fermented dairy products well. The calcium bioavailability from dairy is excellent, approximately 30% absorption, which exceeds many plant sources. Fortified plant milks provide calcium, but often in forms with lower bioavailability and without the protein and other bone-supporting nutrients found in dairy. Supplements vary in absorption depending on the calcium form used, and timing matters. Calcium carbonate requires stomach acid and should be taken with meals, while calcium citrate absorbs regardless of timing. Here's a critical warning about calcium supplementation. High-dose calcium supplements, particularly when taken separately from food, may increase cardiovascular risk in some populations. The mechanism isn't fully clear, but sudden calcium boluses in the bloodstream might promote arterial calcification. This makes getting calcium from food sources, particularly dairy, preferable to high-dose supplementation. If you do supplement, smaller divided doses taken with meals appear safer than large single doses. The protein content of dairy deserves specific attention for bone health. Adequate protein intake is essential for maintaining bone mineral density and preventing fractures. Protein provides the structural matrix that calcium mineralizes. Without sufficient protein, calcium intake alone won't optimize bone strength. Dairy provides both together in meaningful amounts. For those who absolutely cannot consume dairy due to allergy, ethical reasons, or severe intolerance, achieving equivalent bone support requires more planning. You need adequate calcium from multiple sources, sufficient protein from other foods, vitamin D for calcium absorption, vitamin K2 to direct calcium to bones rather than arteries, magnesium for bone metabolism, and resistance exercise for mechanical stimulation of bone formation. Dairy simplifies this by providing several components together. The fermented dairy connection to gut and bone health is particularly interesting. Emerging research suggests gut microbiome composition influences calcium absorption and bone metabolism. Fermented dairy products like yogurt and kefir support beneficial gut bacteria while providing calcium and protein. This represents another potential mechanism explaining why dairy consumption shows better bone outcomes than isolated nutrient supplementation. What concerns me is the wholesale rejection of dairy based on ideology or unsubstantiated health claims, particularly for older adults at high fracture risk. Yes, Dairy is an essential if you're willing to carefully manage calcium, protein, and other bone-supporting nutrients through alternative sources and likely supplementation. But dairy provides a practical, synergistic package that population evidence suggests works effectively for bone health.